We also covered AlphaMattes and LumaMattes. Mats are different from masks, and you could use them for a lot of creative things. So I'm going to make a new comp. Keep the same settings as before. I'm going to call this one AlphaMatte. And I'm going to import two textures. I double clicked on my project panel, or I could go File, Import, File. Use the two images. I'm going to drag them both into my new composition. Let's go check the size. Okay, let's see if I can make this a little smaller. About there's good. Alright. So let's pretend the AlphaMatte will cut out whatever shape you have. So if I do a polygon tool, like this, I'm just going to move it right to here. I'm going to make this a 6-sided hexagon because we talked about the hexagon at the beginning of class. Number of points, make it 6. There we go. Okay. So, let's pretend I want this sky to be animating across. So that is position animation. And I'm just going to have it go from here. Start my keyframe. 2 seconds. Have it there. Okay. That's the animation I want inside this shape. I have the shape on top. This is where I go to switches and modes. Right here, the button down at the bottom. Your switches are for motion blur, adjustment layers, and making things 3D. Modes, as we covered before, are for blending. Like if I changed the blending of the sky, it's going to interact with the layer beneath it differently. That's not what I want. Okay. I'm going to change my track matte settings. That's right here. This column next to the blending mode, track matte. Right there. I'm going to change this to alpha. So now, when I play the animation, you see the sky move, as with the layer beneath it, inside the shape. So that's one way to use an alpha matte. Alpha mattes can also change over time. So if I want to animate this differently, I also put some of my professional work in Canvas for you to look at. Okay, so Polystar. I'm going to animate the number of points. That's 6. Let's make this 2 seconds. Alright, so I'm going to change from 6 to... Let's do that, just for the fun of it. So now the shape's going to change, but it's still going to keep the AlphaMatte working. You can also animate it however you want. That will affect where it's at with the image beneath it. You can do whatever you want, but the point of an AlphaMatte is you're applying a shape, any shape or text, to cut out the layer beneath it. And it's all based off of the shape, the alpha of what is inside the layer above it. That's why when I change the shape changed, but still keeping just what's inside that shape masked out. So that's an alpha matte. Now LumaMatte, I'm going to remove this, hit no track matte. Now we got a whole layer there. LumaMattes work off of lightness and gradients. I picked this image because there's some whites, there's some dark images, there's some grays. So what's going to happen if I'm going to duplicate this layer, put it right down here above the other one. I'm going to turn off my keyframing just so it stays still. I'm going to hide you. Here we go. I'm going to set this back to where it was with the AlphaMatte just for the tutorial. Okay, so this layer is not moving. I'm going to scale it up just a little bit. There we go. I'm going to use the wood beneath it as a LumaMatte. One moment.